everybody.
Anybody here afraid of anything other than insects? Huh? Come on.
Quicksand.
Oh, shit. Hey, Quicksand's a scary mother, man. What are you talking about then, Coach?
Well, why don't you ask him?
Hey, what's up, Shane?
You're playing. And you think everything is going fine. But then one thing goes wrong. And then another. And another. And you try to fight back. But the harder you fight, the deeper you sink. Until you can't move. You can't breathe. Because you're in over your head.
What's up, fellow grinders? Mark Fleetwood here. Welcome back to the Daily Grind Trader. Tonight's video, I'm going to give you 3 things that you must avoid at all costs because, as the intro would suggest, they can turn into quicksand very quickly. With that being said, guys, please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. I simply share technical analysis and my experiences and strategies. All those things I share with you, but you use it as you see fit, if you see fit to do so. And remember, you manage your own money and you manage your own risk. If you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And if you like daily content updates, daily posts, and just different charts and analysis, follow me on Twitter at MarkTheDGT. With all that out of the way, we're going to take a look into a chart, and we're going to get into the first thing that can become quicksand. The first thing that becomes quicksand is swapping from strategy to strategy. You cannot just swap over and over and over again. You have to find something that you like, something that works for you, something that clicks for you, something that you understand very well. And it doesn't have to be the easiest or the most complex, but whatever it is, it has to work for you. Now, I've simplified my charts very much recently because I fell into this quicksand myself, especially because I try a lot to try new strategies so that I can report on them and I can give you guys content. Say, hey, I like this strategy. I think it works very well. Or, you know, I don't really give any content on strategies I don't like because I just don't report on them. But I do try many different strategies just to give you guys some feedback to say, hey, this one is a very strong one, or this is one I would use myself. What happens when you have too many of them floating around your head is that you can get into a trading session and there may not be a trade available for that session. But you might clear your charts and say, you know what if I tried it with this strategy and see if I could pick anything up and find anything that might work for this strategy or this strategy. You can't do that. You have to find one, back test it, forward test it, paper trade it, whatever you have to do to make sure that you have exactly what you need, and then you use that. My most successful is the most simple, and you can see my chart. I am just drawing horizontal support resistance areas and a diagonal trend line, and I am just looking for trend touches and bounces from support resistance areas. You can see here the trend line got touched on a support area. This was a perfect time to go long, and then it went sideways for a little bit, getting back to that trend line, staying on the support. There, it hit that support again, time to go long. Could have actually gotten 2 steps out of that, could have gotten, and there's no reason to say that you can't just enter this one and ride it up as long as it'll go. But these are all positions for me to enter. Now, I set this up and I wasn't actually actively trading at this point, but I want to show these 2 spots here. And the active trade I have is actually a short, because this time when it came across, it made a kind of a flat top, and then it broke through the trend line. Instead of stopping at the trend line and bouncing, it broke through the trend line. And I saw this kind of reverse hammer candle test the trend line and reject off, and I entered a short position off of that, and I will short it down to the next level of support and resistance. And we know this has been support, or actually it had been resistance here. It was a resistance here and a resistance here. So the likelihood is that this will act as a support, at least briefly. I mean, I'll get out of the trade. If it falls below and retest, then I will short again down to this one. I will stair step my way up or down support and resistance levels as I see fit. But this will be my strategy moving forward when I'm trading. Hourly candles, support resistance lines, trend lines. Now, I will look for confluences, and that's when I will open up my RSI. And I'll say, hey, this was a peak here, and then we had a higher peak, but we had a RSI of 76.9 here, and we had an RSI of 64.3 here. So this is a bearish divergence here, plus the trend line broke. Okay, now we're looking like we could potentially look to go into a short position. And so far, I'm in cash from the short position. I'm in a good spot, so I'll take it. But simplified. And it doesn't have to be a simple strategy. It doesn't have to be a complex one, but you have to stick to one, work it, make it work for you, and be confident in it, and be willing to use that or to not trade. So the number two problem that becomes quicksand very quickly, and this is another that I've had to deal with myself very recently, is I'm going to call it problem trading because I don't have a better term for it just yet, but trading to escape. Trading, you had a really bad day at work and you're like, F this job, I'm going to go and trade and I'm going to make enough money so that I can retire early, and you force yourself into trades you shouldn't be into. You had an argument with your wife or your kids or a spouse or whatever. You had an argument and you're in a bad mood and you're going to go trade to find some solace, which is okay, but you have to be able to flip your mindset to get out of emotion once you get on your trading session, because the worst thing you can do is try to make a trade that's going to make things all better. You're in a bad mood, getting a good trade is going to make you feel better. So you enter a trade you probably shouldn't, or you find a position that's not really there, and you're in a bad headspace when you get to trading. So then you make mistakes while you're trading. Your headspace has to be clear when you get into your trading session. And the reason why I call it problem trading is because you can start to use it as a crutch like people use for problem gambling. And I know I use a lot of gambling and trading analogies, because if you don't trade properly, what you're doing is really gambling. If you don't trade with proper risk management, proper leverages, proper everything, you're really just gambling. And at that point, it's problem gambling. So please make sure that you have yourself in a trader's mindset. You're in a place in your head where you can let go of emotion, look strictly analytically and strictly at the numbers and at the drawings and charts or whatever it is that you're looking at, and use only that. The third thing that you must avoid, and it's going to be a quick video, but the third thing you must avoid is you have to avoid not being able to walk away from a session without executing a trade. If you cannot do this, you will not be successful. You have to be able to walk away and say, nothing met my criteria today, I did not make a trade. You have to be able to do that. If you cannot, you will not be successful. You will enter trades you shouldn't, and number one and number two all kind of roll into that, because you will either A, start swapping strategies to find something that'll work, or B, you'll have to get into a trade because you want to feel better about your day, or you want to feel like there's something positive. You've got the potential to have a really good, productive, and profitable day, and you end up having that quickly, that dopamine quickly switching from dopamine to, nah, shit, I got stop loss within an hour, let me hop in and see if I can figure something else out. That is a problem. That is the problem gambling. That is swapping from strategy to strategy and not being able to walk away from a session without making a trade. Those are three things you must be able to avoid, and it's critical. You will not be successful without being able to avoid those things. So with that being said, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you found it entertaining, and as always, until the next time, peace.